is the one who's passionate about the work. So when they're the ones who wrote it and they verbally express their passion, it comes across so much more powerful, because you can hear their passion as they're narrating their book. I don't know if they do it because they think it should sound a certain way, which is funny, because it's almost like, if that's the case for the guy who wrote Miguel Ruiz, who wrote this first book, maybe English, I didn't think about that, maybe English is not his primary language, so maybe it's narrated by different people in different languages. That could be the case for this one. That's totally stereotyping based off of his last name, but maybe he narrates the one in Spanish or something like that. Like, who knows? Now I'm actually curious about that. But I wish I guess they can't if they're going to distribute it in other languages. Alright, touche. But so far, Domestication and the Dream of the Planet, a lot of it resonates with me. Like I said, not a lot of goosebumps, but I feel like that's because the person reading it is just very monotone while reading it, right? There's no passion behind this. There's no intonation behind what is being read, which is frustrating from somebody who likes the emotions, right? I feel like it's very bland. Blah. Like, and I could be reading it myself, but I'm having a hard time focusing for reading. I've always had a hard time focusing for reading. Whether that's just who I am, or whether that's a trauma-based thing, because, like, I'm still in so much fight or flight, and I have a hard time sitting still. I don't know. I'm still reading A Wrinkle in Time. I think I'm actually, like, 3/4 of the way through the first book, and that's, like, the trilogy in this book. It's like 3 in 1 in one paperback book, and it's pretty great so far. And it talks about space travel and time travel and all sorts of cool stuff, which, go figure, is very fitting for my life right now. But anyways, back to the 4 agreements. I'm gonna say the thing that resonates with me the most is the whole, what I'm gonna term, brainwashing. What he terms is like the agreements. It's basically, from the time that we are born, we are told this is true, this is true, this is true, this is true. This is milk, this is blue, this is orange, this is red, this is up, this is down, this is left, this is right, this is wrong. And whatever we're told, we believe, right? And because I do have very different beliefs starting to pop up, I'm sure there's a struggle for my daughter, because I don't believe in germs. I actually wanted to leave a video about this and have not yet. Maybe I will just throw that in here really quick. Because we talk about how kids get sick when they first go to daycare or they first go to school, right? Because what we're told is because we're exposed to germs, quote, that we were not exposed to before. We are now exposed to other people's, quote, germs. They put, toys in their mouths that other kids had in their mouths, and this is why we're told that kids get sick. What if that has nothing to do with it? What if it is because we were at home all the time? We were with our parents. We were in our comfort zone, whether that was, a very loving environment, or maybe one filled with a little less love, but the only love that we know, because that's all we know, is what we're exposed to as children, right? And then when we go to school or daycare, well, now all of a sudden we're with multiple other kids with one caretaker. There's no way that one or maybe 2 people are able to show me as much love as when I was home with my mommy or my mommy and daddy, or, you know, maybe a nanny, or who knows, whatever else. That's one thought, is now these children are being thrown in with multiple children. They're not getting as much love, as much attention as they were when they were home with mommy or daddy, or both, or, you know, whatever, who they were probably receiving a lot more attention from. And maybe that's why their little bodies start acting out and they start getting sick, because they're in a, like, we just throw them in a completely different environment. Now they're not receiving as much attention. We'll put it that way. Not even necessarily love, as much attention. Because that attention may be good or bad, or that's judgment. I realize that it might be, you know, not as sweet. It's just not what we're used to, right? So now we're in a different situation and things aren't normal. We might not be receiving as much attention now from that caretaker. And maybe that's why these little bodies are acting out and getting sick. Maybe it has nothing to do with boat germs, because we blame everything on external sources, right? And that is ruling in fear. We now become afraid of germs, right? What are we going through right now with COVID? We are being told to be afraid of COVID, of this thing that can cause all this harm and kills people and makes you lose your sense of smell, your sense of taste, I don't know, you can't breathe. Well, maybe this stuff is happening because all this fear is kicking in these people, and it's making them sick because they're afraid. And it's ruling in fear. And I guess maybe this is my thought, being the physical therapist, since I deal with the body, is the effects that this fear has on us. Or manifesting in cancer or whatever. And the same idea of, because we're not being true to ourselves. Because we are literally brainwashed. He terms it differently. I'm going to just leave it as that, in order to kind of maybe help get the layman's term out there of what's going on. We are literally brainwashed. We are programmed from probably in the womb, because we're still taking in stuff that's going on around us into this belief system, into this is good, this is bad, this is up, this is down, this is left, this is right. It's all just conditioning. And then we can choose what we believe, right? But as a child, you just believe everything you're told. At what age that changes, I don't know. But like you said, that's when kids start saying no. Or they become people pleasers like myself, who just say yes to everything and try to make everybody happy, and then end up disrespecting themselves and not loving themselves, because we're so busy trying to please others and so busy trying to make others happy. And we're seeing it a lot right now from my perspective with COVID and the ruling in fear. And here's one that I'm going to bring up, an example of shame. This quote, vaccine, that we have been told does not actually prevent anybody from getting COVID. It does not keep you from getting it. The only thing it does is lessen the severity of the symptoms if you contract COVID, which COVID, I'm going to say, is just made up in order for us to be afraid of something, so that the government or Big Farm can come in and save the day with their vaccine, so that they can maintain power and control over all of us. And now we've been told, this is where I get very confused, because they have straight up said it doesn't prevent anybody from getting COVID, because if they said that and then somebody who got the vaccine got COVID, they could be sued, right? So we know that this does not prevent anybody from getting COVID. And yet now people are being shamed for not getting the vaccine because they're putting others' lives at risk and they're potentially putting others in harm's way. So why not get the COVID vaccine if it could help somebody else? But we were told it doesn't help anybody else. It only helps you. So why are we shaming people for not getting the vaccine? When the only person that it helps, according to them, is yourself. And total shaming on people for having an opposing view about masks. That maybe masks do not help prevent the spread of anything. Especially because I don't believe that germs make us sick. So I think fear of those germs is what makes us sick. Living in fear is what makes us sick, in my opinion. As well as not being true to ourselves. Any sort of discourse to our own true selves. Stress to our own true selves. Stress in general. Stress, fear. Who knows? So maybe anger does make you sick, right? But I'm also not going to shame anger because we all get angry, right? We all get jealous. We all get, like, that. I felt like there was a lot of shame in that, talking about that, because to me, in this chapter about the domestication of the planet, the domestication of the dream of the planet, whatever the chapter is, to me, when he talks about anger and jealousy, to me it sounds like he's saying that those are negative emotions. Those aren't. Those are completely normal, healthy emotions. That's where I resonate more with Matt Kahn. Whatever arises, love that. Just love. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge the feelings you're having. Don't judge the anger you're feeling. Don't judge possible jealousy of your partner talking about their stress with somebody else and not you. Don't, whatever. And there's lots of shame right now about, well, how dare you not wearing masks to keep others safe? Well, I don't believe it keeps anybody safe. I think we should all just be loving each other and touching each other and hugging each other and showing love. And now my daughter's being told at school she can't hold hands with her friends because they're trying to prevent the spread of COVID. So she can't hold hands with her friends because because it's living in fear now that if she holds hands with her friends she might get sick? Bull fucking shit. No, that does not resonate with me. Let's all show each other love. But that's not the society that we live in, that is currently ruled by big farm politics, who rule in fear and are now also shaming us for not putting things in our bodies that may not resonate with us. And that's where I am putting judgment on that, like the vaccine, and forcing people to get it is basically rape, because you are forcing people to put something in their body that they do not want to put in their body. What, in order to keep their job, in order to travel somewhere, that's bullshit. Nobody should be forced to put anything in their body that they don't want to. And nobody should be shamed for not doing that. So this is very fascinating, but this is stuff that's in my reality, right? So am I dreaming this up? Because this is my reality. I would like to live in a reality where this does not exist. If you didn't listen to any social media, any news, I do believe that there are people out there that have no clue that COVID even exists or any thoughts of others around me, which means I'm still living in fear, right? Because this isn't my reality. And I want to be living somewhere not living in fear, where right now, that's going to be my example, is